Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Made Easy, your favorite podcast for learning English step by step. I'm Sarah, your guide to mastering practical English.
And I'm Mike. We're here to make English learning fun, simple, and most importantly, useful in real life. Today's topic is one you'll find incredibly helpful: what to say when asking for directions.
Yes. Imagine you're traveling to a new city. Maybe you're on vacation or visiting friends, but suddenly you find yourself in a place you've never been before. You need to get to your destination, but you're not sure how. What do you do?
Well, that's exactly what we'll help you with today. By the end of this episode, you'll know the key phrases to ask for directions, how to understand the answers, and how to handle any situation with confidence.
Not only that, but we're going to share examples, practice conversations, and even talk about some common mistakes people make. We'll also share our own funny and awkward stories about asking for directions in foreign places.
Trust me, you don't want to miss those. And as always, we love hearing from you. So here's our first question for you. Have you ever asked for directions in English? How did it go? Let us know in the comments, or send us a message.
And stick around until the end of the episode, because we'll share tips to make sure you never feel lost again.
All right, Sarah, let's start with the basics. Asking for directions might seem simple, but it can actually feel intimidating, especially if English isn't your first language.
Exactly, Mike. And the challenge isn't just asking the question, it's also understanding the answer. People might use unfamiliar words, speak too quickly, or give directions that feel confusing.
So true. Let's break it down step by step. First, when you're asking for directions, what's the most important thing to remember?
Politeness. Always start with phrases like, "Excuse me," or "Sorry to bother you." It makes a big difference. People are much more willing to help if you're polite.
Absolutely. For example, you could say, "Excuse me, could you help me find the train station?" Or, "Sorry, I'm a bit lost. Could you tell me how to get to the museum?"
Listeners, take a moment and think. How would you ask for directions in English? Practice saying one of those phrases out loud.
Good idea, Sarah. And here's another tip. Be specific. Instead of just saying, "Where is the park?" Try, "Where is the nearest park?" Or, "How can I get to the Central Park?" It gives the person more information to help you.
Right. And what if you don't understand their answer? Don't panic. You can politely ask them to repeat or explain. Try saying, "I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?" Or, "Can you say that more slowly, please?"
Listeners, what would you say if you didn't understand someone's directions? Share your responses in the comments.
I always get nervous asking for directions when I'm in a new place.
It's a useful skill to learn. Let's start with some basics. What would you usually say if you're lost and need help?
I think I'd say, "Excuse me, can you help me?"
That's a great start. It's polite and gets the person's attention. You can also add where you want to go. For example, "Excuse me, can you help me? I'm looking for the train station."
Oh, I like that. It's direct but polite. What if I don't know the exact name of the place?
Good question. You can describe the place instead. For instance, "Excuse me, I'm looking for a big park nearby." Or, "I'm trying to find a coffee shop around here."
Got it, so I can use descriptions if I don't know the name. What comes next?
After asking, people will usually give you directions. Let's practice understanding their answers. I'll pretend to be someone giving directions. Ready?
Ready?
Okay, here we go. The train station is straight ahead. Walk 2 blocks and you'll see it on your left.
Let me repeat it to check if I got it right. Straight ahead, walk 2 blocks, and it's on my left?
Exactly. Repeating what you hear is a great way to confirm directions.
That makes sense. What if they use words I don't understand?
Good point. You can ask them to clarify. Try saying, "I'm sorry, could you say that again?" Or, "What does that mean?"
Oh, like if they say blocks and I don't know what it means.
Exactly. Blocks usually means the distance between 2 streets, but asking for clarification is always okay. Let's try another one.
All right, I'm ready.
Go down this street, turn right at the traffic light, and it's next to the pharmacy.
Okay. So, Go down this street, turn right at the traffic light, and it's next to the pharmacy.
Perfect. You're catching on quickly.
Thanks. But what if I need more help? Like, if I get confused while following the directions?
You can ask again when you're closer. For example, "Excuse me, I think I'm near the train station. Can you point me in the right direction?"
Oh, I like that. It sounds polite and shows I've already tried.
Exactly. People are usually happy to help if you're kind. Let's switch it up. I'll ask you for directions now.
Okay, bring it on.
"Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to the museum?"
Sure. The museum is about 5 minutes from here. Go straight down this street and you'll see it on your right.
Nice. That was clear and simple. What if I ask, "Is it far from here?"
I'd say, no, it's not far. It's about a 5-minute walk.
Excellent. You can also add landmarks to help. For example, "It's near the big fountain in the park."
Landmarks make it easier to find, right?
Exactly. Most people remember landmarks better than street names. Now let's practice some tricky answers people might give.
Oh no, tricky ones?
Don't worry, you'll do fine. Here's one. Take the second left, then the first right. You'll see a tall building ahead, and the place is just behind it.
Okay, let me think. Second left, then first right, tall building ahead, and it's behind the building.
Perfect. If it sounds confusing, you can ask them to draw a simple map.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'll remember that.
Good. Let's do one more. It's a bit complicated. Go straight, then take the third left. Keep going until you see a roundabout, then take the second exit.
Go straight, third left. Keep going to the roundabout and take the second exit.
Excellent. Always feel free to ask for help again if you're unsure.
This has been so helpful, Mike. I feel more confident already.
That's the goal.
Let's bring this to life with a quick example. Imagine you're in a busy city and trying to find a famous landmark. Mike, you're the traveler and I'll be the local.
Got it. Let's go.
Excuse me, could you help me? I'm looking for the city library.
Sure. Go straight down this street for about 2 blocks. Then turn left at the traffic light. The library will be on your right, next to the park.
Okay, so I go straight for 2 blocks, turn left at the traffic light, and it's on my right, next to the park?
That's correct.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Listeners, did you catch all of that? Let's go over the key phrases we used.
Here are some of the most important phrases from that conversation. Go straight. This means to continue in the same direction without turning. Turn left and turn right. These tell you where to change directions. It's on your right. This lets you know where to look when you arrive. Next to, this phrase helps you identify the location by describing something nearby.
These are phrases you'll hear often when asking for directions. And remember, you can always repeat the directions back to make sure you understand, like I did in the example.
Exactly. This not only helps you confirm the directions, but also shows the other person that you're paying attention.
Let's practice that conversation again, but this time we'll slow it down. Listeners, repeat each phrase after us.
Excuse me, could you help me? I'm looking for the city library.
Go straight down this street for about 2 blocks. Then turn left at the traffic light. The library will be on your right, next to the park.
Okay, so I go straight for 2 blocks, turn left at the traffic light, and it's on my right, next to the park?
That's correct.
Listeners, take your time and repeat each phrase until it feels natural.
Now, Mike, let's talk about why asking for directions is such an important skill for language learners.
Well, Sarah, it's one of those practical situations that everyone faces at some point. Whether you're traveling, moving to a new place, or even just exploring your hometown, you'll need this skill.
That's so true. And it's not just about knowing the words. It's also about building confidence to approach strangers and ask for help.
Exactly. A lot of learners worry about making mistakes, but here's the thing. Most people are happy to help and they won't judge you for trying.
Listeners, have you ever felt nervous about asking for directions? What helped you overcome that fear? Let us know in the comments.
And remember, practice is key. Try these phrases with a friend, or even practice in front of a mirror. The more you say them, the easier it will feel.
One more tip. Use landmarks. If you're struggling to understand someone's directions, ask about nearby landmarks like a big building, a park, or a statue.
That's a great idea. For example, you could say, "Is it near the big fountain?" Or, "Is there a pharmacy close to it?"
Listeners, what are some landmarks in your city that you could use when asking for directions?
Sarah, do you have a story about asking for directions that didn't go as planned?
Oh, definitely. I was in Japan and I needed to find a specific temple. I asked for directions in English and the person I spoke to didn't know much English. So they started drawing a map on a napkin. It was so kind of them. But I still got lost because I couldn't read the street signs.
That's such a relatable story. I had a similar experience in Italy, but instead of a map, someone actually walked with me to show me the way. It was such a kind gesture, and I learned a lot of Italian words just from that short walk.
It's amazing how helpful people can be if you just ask.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We've covered a lot, from key phrases to practice tips, and even shared some of our own stories.
Remember, listeners, practice these phrases, don't be afraid to make mistakes, and always approach people politely.
If you enjoyed this episode, check out our previous episode on improving your pronunciation. It's a great complement to today's topic.
And don't forget to subscribe, leave us a comment, and share this podcast with anyone who's learning English. Bye for now.